reckon it's been 40 winters since I last rode into Dustfield. Back then, the town still breathed, faintly, like the last ember in a cold hearth, but it breathed all the same. You could hear the iron squeal of the windmill at sundown and smell old tobacco drifting from the saloon porch. Folks still sat out front, rocking slow in chairs that knew more stories than books ever told. They'd nod as I passed, maybe raise a calloused hand. I wasn't nobody important, just the mail rider, but mail meant something back then. News from the outside world, or maybe just a scrap of paper that reminded someone they weren't forgotten. They called me Evening Jack 'cause I never arrived before the sun started sinking low. I liked riding in at dusk, made the dust shimmer like gold, and the quiet felt almost holy. But that night, something was off. Couldn't put my finger on it, but the wind didn't sound quite right, and the post bag felt heavier than it should have. Belle, my old mare, shifted under me as if she felt it too. I eased her down the main road, only it wasn't much of a road anymore. Weeds had crept in like memories you try to forget. Most windows were shuttered, some broken. The bell above the general store had long since rusted into silence. But there was light in the post office. That surprised me. Candlelight, flickering like someone waiting on a story. I tied Belle to the old rail, which still held the notches I'd carved back in '87, and stepped up. The door creaked before I touched it. Opened slow. And there she was, Miss Calder. Still upright behind the counter, same steel-gray hair pinned neat, same brooch shaped like wings over a letter. She looked older, sure, but not faded. Like time respected her too much to wear her down. "Evening, Jack," she said, her voice quiet like a hymn. "Didn't think I'd see you again." "Didn't think I'd come back," I said, lowering the sack. "But roads have a way of remembering where they end." She smiled, not with her mouth, but with her eyes, same way she always did. Didn't ask what was in the bag. She knew. It was the same canvas satchel she gave me 30 years ago, the one she asked me to keep safe. Told me it had letters that couldn't be delivered yet. Said one day they'd find their time. And tonight seemed to be that time. We sat in the dim quiet, candle between us like a tiny fire holding back the years. She poured tea, still bitter, still strong, made from dried herbs that only grow where the soil remembers sorrow. She asked if I still rode alone. I nodded. She asked if I ever read the letters. I shook my head. Some things ain't meant to be opened by strangers. She reached for the bag and pulled one envelope out. Red wax, sealed tight, her handwriting. "Been waiting on this one," she said. Didn't open it, just held it like it had a heartbeat. Outside, the wind stilled. Dustfield had never been a loud place, but now it felt like even the ghosts were holding their breath. She didn't need to read the letter. She remembered every word. Wrote it for herself, she said. For the woman she thought she'd become. For the girl she once was. Maybe for the town, too, before it vanished one porch at a time. We didn't speak for a long while. Just listened to the wood creak and the flame dance shadows across old maps. I asked if she was staying. She said no. Said she was leaving soon, somewhere quieter. "A place without mail," she whispered, "and without waiting." I tipped my hat. That's all I could do. You don't argue with someone who's already halfway gone. She stood, slow but sure, and handed me back the letter, still sealed. "Take it with you," she said. "Deliver it when the trail calls again." Then she turned, walked into the back room, and never came out. I waited till the candle burned down to its last breath. Then I picked up the bag, now lighter somehow, and stepped outside. Belle was waiting, patient as always. I climbed into the saddle and didn't look back. Some places don't want goodbyes. The stars were out now, quiet, watchful, the kind you only see in places forgotten by maps. As we rode out, the wind picked up again, but this time it sounded right, like a song hummed by the land itself. I reckon Dustfield ain't on any route no more, but in my heart, and in that satchel, it's still got one last delivery waiting. Maybe someday I'll deliver it. Maybe to someone who remembers. Maybe to someone who's never even heard of Dustfield. But it don't matter. What matters is that someone's always waiting, even if they don't know it. That's what letters are for. And so I ride, through dusk and dawn, through ghost towns and crossroads. My name's Evening Jack, and I reckon I'm the last mail rider west of the old line. But as long as I got one letter left in that bag, the trail ain't over yet. Sometimes, when the sky turns just the right shade of purple, I swear I can hear her voice, not in words, but in the hush of the wind, in the creak of the saddle. It reminds me that places like Dustfield don't disappear. They just wait, tucked in folds of time, for someone to remember. The towns I pass now are hollow echoes, rail ties rotting, storefronts collapsed like tired lungs. But every so often, I see a child peer from a cracked window or a woman hang a quilt on a line, and I tip my hat, wondering if maybe one of those letters is meant for them. I camp under the stars more than I sleep in beds. I've got no destination, just the trail. Belle still knows the way, even when I don't. Sometimes she stops at a place we've never been, looks back at me like she's asking if this might be the spot. I give her a nod, and we wait. Sometimes nothing happens. Other times, a man steps from the shadows, or a woman opens her door with tears already fallen, and I reach into that old satchel and hand them an envelope. They never question where it came from. They just know it's theirs. Dustfield gave me purpose long after I thought I had none left. And Miss Calder, she gave me the kind of job that don't end with retirement or a grave. It ends when the trail ends. And that trail, friend, it's still stretching out before me. So if ever you find yourself riding west at sundown, and you see a lone rider in the distance with a bag slung over one shoulder and a mare the color of smoke, that's me, Evening Jack. And if you got a story worth telling or a letter you never sent, well, maybe I'm the one who's meant to carry it. The West ain't dead, it's just sleeping, and some nights, I reckon I'm the dream it dreams.